Hey there, fellow Reddit enthusiasts. If you love diving into intriguing Reddit stories, you'll want to stick around till the end. We've got a captivating one lined up for you today. For this video, we're delving into the fascinating world of relationships. So buckle up for a deep dive into some compelling stories. Spouse 47M, and I, 34F, both have empty cups and want the other to fill us up. Hey y'all, this has been an exceptionally tough season for my spouse, 47M, and I, 34F. And while we have a couples counseling session to address this topic tomorrow, I was hoping to get some straightforward advice from this sub about how to handle an ongoing dynamic where both of us feel like we have empty cups, so to speak, and we keep wanting the other to fill us up, even though neither of us have much of anything to give. Some background. Together since 2017, opened our relationship to polyamory in 2019, married in early 2022. Since becoming polyamorous, spouse has struggled to find deeper than casual relationships, though he's had several hookups, chalked ONS situationships. I have had far fewer situationships, but currently have a LDR partner I've been seeing for 6 months. Spouse has repeatedly asked me to restrict my dating activities, his words, to calm his jealousy and pain, typically after I've entered a committed partnership with someone. This has happened 3 times so far. Spouse was laid off in May from customer service, SASS. He has been searching and applying near daily since then, with very little luck or movement and lots of rejections, ghosting, non-responses. He has no specific certifications, degree, or advanced training, only a HS education. The town where we live is small and has very few local opportunities. Spouse has ADHD and clinical depression, moderate severe, and a long history of addiction, 8 years sober. He's in individual counseling and takes meds. His son, my stepson, left for college this fall. Stepson was spouse's primary source of connection and socialization outside of our marriage, and spouse has struggled significantly with empty nest. This, in combo with being unemployed and difficulties with polyamorous dating, has worsened his depression quite a bit. I have an advanced degree in psychology. I run 2 solo businesses in the mental health industry and am the sole income earner. I am very burned out. However, it's not feasible for me to step back my schedule due to spouse's unemployment. I have clinical anxiety, moderate, and depression, moderate. I'm in individual talk therapy, individual brain spotting therapy, and take meds daily. I am also sober, 7.5 years. I have no children of my own, and my nuclear family is spread throughout North and Central America, so we can call, but I don't have anyone nearby to go to for physical support. I've recently started attending Codependence Anonymous meetings. The issues. We had a semi-regular check-in today to talk about finances, household management, upcoming life things, etc. Toward the end of our meetings, we typically check in on what's gone poorly in our relationship and how we can work toward fixing it. This is where the big issue was named, and while it felt good to name it, and we both agreed with each other's assessment, we didn't have any responses as to how to fix it, spouse's response. The more we're working on the broad spectrum of communication, the less successful we are. We're not in the moment. We are trying too hard to ask for what we need from each other and be heard by the other, and we're squeezing each other to death. It's an earnest effort, but inorganic. We're aiming at moving targets. My response. We're both asking for needs to be met by the other, and we both feel unable to give more. Both cups are empty, and we are asking the other to fill it. This creates feelings of resentment and almost defiance of each other. Like, you're asking for more from me when I've not only given all I can, but I'm not getting what I ask for in return. Areas where we both feel overextended, stuck, unable to give more. I feel overextended financially. I've always been more anxious about our finances to the point that financial conversations almost cause a shutdown on his end. With his being unemployed for half a year, I am reaching a breaking point. Shit is expensive, we are piling up CC debt, healthcare insurance costs are out of control, and student loans have restarted. He feels overextended in household management. He has ADHD and manages it through routine, predictability, and efficiency in his environment. There are many specific requests he has for the way the house is organized, managed, and try as I might, I cannot meet all of those requests. He states that when things are not done as he requests, he feels like things are just left for me to do, or I feel unloved. He wants more physical closeness, intimacy, make love. Stress and overwhelm really impact my libido and desire for physical affection, and I find myself wanting more space. Spouse wants to move residences to be closer to where his son goes to college, even though it's in a city that neither of us would choose were his son not there. I prefer to move to a city that is more equidistant between stepson and my LDR partner. Stepson is 3 HRs away. LDR partner is 4.5 hours away. Neither of us know when to bring up issues with each other out of concern it will cause a spiral, argument. We can both get quite defensive when issues are brought up, especially in the first two realms of finances and household management. We also spiral quickly when issues around polyamory get brought up, specifically his jealousy around my relationship and my pushback when he asks me to change my dating patterns to accommodate his jealousy, help him feel less left behind. So at this point, I think we are both feeling like we're out of ideas. We had a conversation a couple weeks ago, after I initiated a discussion around the idea of having separate bedrooms and renegotiating our financial management, opting for more separation save for shared bills, which led him to say that it felt like the relationship was irrevocably changing. I think we got close to admitting at that point that things were falling apart, but neither of us said it, and we haven't really touched the discussion since. We both want this to work, I think. I cannot lie and say that trial separation has not crossed my mind. I'm looking for any insights, advice, tough love, tips, techniques, or things to consider here. I don't know if it's a last-ditch effort, but it certainly feels like it at this point. Thank you in advance. The situation you're in sounds like it's real, why tough? It's understandable that you're both feeling overwhelmed and burnt out. It's important to remember that you're not alone in this. Many couples go through periods where they feel like they're just going through the motions and not real why connecting with each other. The good news is that you're both aware of the problem and you're both committed to working things out. That's a great start. Here are a few things you can do to start rebuilding your relationship. Communicate openly and honestly with each other. This means talking about your feelings, even the difficult ones. It also means being willing to listen to each other without interrupting or getting defensive. Spend quality time together. This means doing things that you both enjoy without any distractions. It could be as simple as going for a walk, watching a movie, or cooking dinner together. Seek professional help. A couples therapist can help you to identify the root of your problems and develop strategies for coping with them. It's important to be patient with yourselves. It takes time to rebuild trust and intimacy. But if you're both willing to put in the work, things can get better. I know things are tough right now, but try to keep a sense of humor. Laughter is the best medicine. Here are a few things to keep in mind. You're not the only couple who goes through rough patches. Every relationship has its ups and downs. You're both on the same team. You're in this together. You're both capable of overcoming this. You've already come a long way. Now let's shift our focus to the comments section and see what our fantastic community has to say about this. Your insights always add an extra layer to the conversation. User Mleek. This is falling apart. You have issues in every single corner and element of the relationship. As a nesting primary partnership, this is dissolving. You need to start asking yourself if it should, because it sounds like his financial dependence on you is the thread holding this together. User Throw Ray 2 Tired Betches OP replies, "Thank you. I do think that is an important question to ask and an important angle to look at it. Pilot burner. You have an advanced degree, your husband has an AS diploma. You're employed in 2 jobs, he is unemployed and unlikely to find work. Rather than take over running the household in his spare time, he blames you for not getting things done his way. You agreed years ago to polyamory, and now he wants to control what your relationships look like. Of course you want more space, separate bedrooms, and your own finances. If you want to keep working on this, that's your prerogative, but it seems like it has run its course. All right, folks, it's time to shift gears and dive into our next compelling story. Buckle up for another journey into the unexpected twists of Reddit tales. My ex-wife, F33, and I, M35, recently reconnected after she went through a bad breakup. Is it bad that I want to get back together with my ex-wife because of how lonely I am? There's some context to why we got divorced, but it will take too long to explain here. The summary is that I could not get along with her family and mostly her father, and that made my marriage an unhappy place for me. Her father always hated me, and at one point told me that my ex-wife deserves better than me. If you want to read about my relationship with him, it is in the previous posts. I am not sure if I am all owed to provide links. But after our divorce, I lost a lot of family and friends. I was very involved with family on her side, and losing them out at the same time because we got divorced made things difficult for me. I am an immigrant here, so I did not have many friends outside of my ex-wife's family. During the divorce process, the COVID lockdown started, and that killed all my relationships with her side of the family. And I was really lonely here for a long time. I tried to go on dates, but the dating culture is so different now than 15 years ago. I could not find a person I wanted to spend more time with, but I think it was in part my fault too. And the one person who showed interest in long-term dating, she was much younger than me. I did not like her friends, and her friends were not thrilled with me either. So that relationship kind of died in 2021. Since then, I have stopped going on dates even. And I have lost touch with some friends and acquaintances because of COVID, or maybe because of age and not having a wife. Like, they are all family men now, so making time is a difficult thing. But anyway, I saw my ex-wife a few times in the last 2 years, and we exchanged some quick words about well-being, but nothing substantial. I knew she lost her father due to COVID, and I told her I was sorry for her loss because he loved her very much. She also told me she was dating a younger man, and it was going well. However, we never sat down for tea or anything. It just never happened. But 2 months ago, I got a message from her saying she wanted to meet for lunch. During this lunch, she told me her relationship of 1 year and some months was not going well, and she was thinking of breaking up with her boyfriend. She and him did not agree on kids or not having kids, and she did not see a future with him. We kept in touch through the last 2 months, and 12 days ago she broke up with him. She told me a part of the reason was that after talking to me, she remembered how it was with me when we first started dating and how it was not the same with her boyfriend. She and I have been talking a lot in the last few weeks. Since the breakup, the first thing she does after waking up every morning is message me. And then 2 days ago, she called it at 7 in the morning, saying she was at my door with some food. I had been feeling ill, but I don't remember when I told her. However, she came with a lot of home-cooked food and soups, which she knows I like. It felt like we were back in time 10 years ago. It's been a very confusing time since then. I am not sure what I feel. I think I am starting to love her again. She pays me so much attention, which is nice. She also keeps sending food or bringing it herself. And then last night, she spent the night because I was too ill to get up and clean after myself. Nothing happened between us, but at the same time, I think she wants to talk about us dating again, maybe. And I will admit, all the attention and food and other gestures of love and care are starting to feel incredible. I am not sure who to talk to about this. I think I need to keep her away for a few days to be able to think clearly. But it has been so long since I have felt this good about myself. And a lot of our relationship problems were from how her father acted with me. So I keep thinking, maybe we can try again and this time it will be better. Any advice or anyone wants to talk to help me think here, would really appreciate. I'm glad you're reaching out for advice during this confusing time. It's important to take things slowly and carefully when considering whether or not to rekindle an old flame. On the one hand, it's understandable that you're feeling drawn to your ex-wife again. She's paying you attention, making you feel cared for, and reminding you of the good times you shared together. It's easy to get caught up in the nostalgia and forget about the reasons why things didn't work out between you in the first place. On the other hand, it's crucial to remember that your ex-wife's relationship with her father was a major source of conflict in your marriage. While his passing may have softened your feelings towards him, it doesn't erase the impact he had on your relationship. There's no guarantee that things will be different this time around. It's important to avoid falling into the trap of believing that reconnecting with an ex-wife is always a bad idea. There are plenty of couples who have successfully rekindled their love after some time apart. However, it's important to approach the situation with caution and realism. I know this is a serious matter, but I couldn't resist making a joke about the food situation. It's pretty sweet that your ex-wife is taking care of you like that. Maybe she's trying to fatten you up before she takes you to the altar. Wink. Ultimately, the decision of whether or not to get back together with your ex-wife is up to you. Just make sure you're taking the time to consider all of the factors involved and not letting your loneliness cloud your judgment. Hold on to your seats. In the upcoming story update, we're weaving in more of your opinions. It's your chance to shape the narrative, so keep those insights flowing. Update: my ex-wife, F33 and I, M35, recently reconnected after she went through a bad breakup. Is it bad that I want to get back together with my ex-wife because of how lonely I am? As for the update, it is a mixed bag. On Saturday, she came over to talk about our relationship and what we both wanted, what went wrong, etc. She asked to speak first, and I really should have talked first instead. But I let her say her part, and it was focused on her relationship with her whole family, how important her father was to her, how much involved everyone else was in her relationship with me. She said sorry for letting her family, and her father in particular, meddle in our marriage. One of the things which hurt me a lot was when she mentioned that her ex-boyfriend never wanted to be around her family and hated going to any family events or even to a simple dinner, etc. She said that's when she realized how much easier I had made things for her in our marriage. It was incredibly hurtful because I remember telling her in so many different ways, and at many times, even before the death of her mother, that I was okay with her family's involvement, but she needed to keep some distance between our relationship and her father in particular. She said that one time her father said something nasty directed at her ex-boyfriend, and after that time, he refused to be in the same room as him. And I told her that he was right in doing that. I reminded her of the time when her father told me, after 5 years of our relationship, that he did not want to give me his blessing for asking you to marry. I don't know why, but hearing her say that she saw her family's behavior towards her boyfriend, and that was what helped her see how toxic they can be, was real, hurtful. Like my feelings and my protest did not matter to her as much. I told her that, and she had tears in her eyes. She said sorry a lot of times about it. She said she was young and inexperienced at first, and then after her mother died, she was scared of losing her father, and anything I said about him was difficult for her to hear because of that. I remember one time we were hosting the family dinner, and her father said hurtful things about my cooking, and I brought it up with her and one of her siblings, and she refused to hear me, even when her sister told her she should listen, because I was right. Anyway, when we got talking about her father, the conversation kind of got away from me. We ended up talking about him for like 2 hours. I think she wanted to get a lot of it off her chest too. It was very emotional and exhausting though, as afterwards I did not have the energy to continue talking. I really wish I had talked first because I wanted to talk to her about our problems in the bedroom as well. But we had to make food first. She was saying how much she missed cooking with me and being around each other. I guess that's another thing her ex-boyfriend did not appreciate about her. After making lunch together, we just sat eating and talking about the few times we had some time for ourselves when we were married. She mentioned how much she liked going on 2 road trips we took together after we got married. For context, we used to have a lot more time when we first started dating as we were still studying. But then, after getting jobs and having to take care of a house, it slowly diminished. After we finished lunch, I was too tired to continue our conversation, so we just kind of existed around each other for a little bit. We did talk about what we should not expect if we started dating. I told her I want to talk about our bedroom problems, but maybe not right away. She told me she wanted to say sorry for no listening to me about that too. She was a very selfish lover, and she told me it was a difficult thing for her to realize that she had ignored my needs in the marriage. She said if we date again, she wants us to see a relationship counselor together and by herself to make our dating life better. I think it is a good idea to talk to someone who can help me explain my side of things to her. I am not confident how helpful the conversation can be if it is just the two of us. She has a tendency to talk over me or to agree with me, but not let me say my part. I want to talk to her about it too, but I think it's better if I wait until we have found some relationship counselor. But still, I think the outcome of the conversation yesterday was good. I want to ask her out on a date tonight, for maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. She went back to her house last night, and I missed her presence around me a lot. I don't know if that is a good sign or if it means I am too lonely. When she was here yesterday, she got a call from one of her siblings and she mentioned me by name. I was not listening in, but I just heard her say my name, so my ears picked up on that part. I feel like that should be a good sign too. Or maybe I am just desperate to look for anything positive, as take that as a sign. She wanted to come over today, but I told her I am feeling much better and she doesn't need to cook for me today. Also, I spent the morning today looking through our old pictures together. It was nice to remember the person she used to be. I feel like yesterday I saw a little bit of that person in her. Am I wrong to want to start something so soon? I know I said previously that I would wait, but waiting for the sake of it seems pointless. I do want to take things slow because I want us to find a relationship counselor soon, but I am afraid I will lose her if I show no interest. Thanks for the update. It's great that you're both able to have open and honest conversations with each other. It's clear that you both care about each other and want to make things work. It's understandable that you're feeling torn about whether or not to start dating again. On the one hand, you miss your ex-wife, and you have fond memories of your time together. On the other hand, you're still dealing with the hurt and resentment from your previous relationship. It's important to be patient and to not rush into anything. Take your time to get to know each other again and to see if you're compatible. Don't ignore the problems that you had in the past, but try to address them in a constructive way. It's important to remember that not all second chances end in disaster. There are plenty of couples who have successfully rekindled their love after some time apart. However, it's important to be realistic and to not expect things to be perfect. I know this is a serious matter, but I couldn't resist making a joke about the food situation. It's pretty sweet that your ex-wife is cooking for you. Maybe she's trying to fatten you up before she takes you to the altar. I'm glad that you're both open to the possibility of getting back together. Just be sure to take things slowly, communicate openly, and don't be afraid to seek professional help if you need it. I'm rooting for you. Before we unravel the next chapter, let's take a pit stop at the community comments. Your thoughts and reactions are the heartbeat of our discussions. User Mark Mickey Q198. If you want a firm foundation for a continued relationship, you will need to enter into it being whole yourself. There can't be a doubt in your mind as to why you are with her. Work on yourself first. Love yourself. Be happy and content. Then you can think of getting back together. User Patarmagansar replies, also, OP needs to advocate for himself and say to her, one of the baselines for us being together is you defending me against your family's resentment. I always went above and beyond, and I need you to advocate for me 100% of the time. Sarman82. Dude, I'm sorry you don't feel you can date, but going back to your toxic ex, yes, she is toxic. And her toxic family because you feel lonely is not the answer. She let her father disrespect you. She was a selfish lover, never taking your needs into account. And when it got to be too much for you to take, they all abandoned you. Why would you want to expose yourself to that kind of life? Your ex-wife's ex probably had a lot more self-respect to not tolerate familial interference in their relationship, so that's why he bailed. Who's the only person that put up with their shit the longest? You. Hence why she reached out. You said yourself, she has no boundaries when it comes to her family. She's just gonna let them do what they've always done. stick their noses in your business. You also said she always talks over you and you didn't get to even say your piece this last time you talked. She doesn't want to get back together out of love, but out of convenience. Her age is making her biological clock go off in her head, and you are her last resort. Don't ever be anyone's backup plan. You're letting the memory of the girl she was when her mother was alive cloud your judgment about the woman she is now. I'm not saying this last part to be mean, but you need to learn some self-respect. I do wish you luck, sir. We've had some fantastic insights in the comments, and now it's time to move on to our next captivating story. Get ready for another roller coaster of emotions. Husband, 28M, cheated on me, 27F. So I found out today that my husband cheated. We've been together 8 years, married almost 2 years. No kids, just 3 dogs. Own a house together. Have savings. 2 cars. The American dream. He came home and I noticed he had something on his face. Wiped and then said it looked like makeup. I asked him why he had makeup on his nose and his response was, "Oh, I don't know. I don't think I put on any makeup." And I'm like, "How do you not know? Also, you don't have makeup, LOL." He of course pivoted and said he went to the dentist and that maybe it was their makeup. I of course said that's stupid because a dentist doesn't get close enough to your face to get makeup on you. This whole time he seemed panicky, stumbled over his words, quivering lip, and wouldn't look straight at me. He told me he didn't know what to say and that he was telling the truth. I told him I did not believe him purely because how asinine his explanation was and how sketchy he was acting. We've also been having some issues in our marriage and fighting quite a bit the past few months. He said I could check his phone and the footage on our house cameras, and I said that wouldn't change anything. I told him he needed to be honest with me, and that if he told me now, it'd be better than me finding out later. Stuck to his guns that he was telling me the truth. Awesome thing is that my parents were coming over to dog sit while we went to California for a vacation talk about perfect timing. We dropped the subject and tried to act normal with my parents' arrival. I was texting my brother about everything at the time, and he had the great idea of getting the SD card out of his dash cam. So I bebopped myself out to his truck and got the SD card. He came outside right at that time and asked what I was doing. Told him I was looking in his truck. I go upstairs in our house and he asked if I took the SD card. I said, "Yup, you said I could look at footage." He said it would have been nice to know, and I said, "Well, now you do." I then calmly took him through my logical thinking of why I think he got makeup on his nose because he was making out with someone else. I ended my explanation with, "We have been together 8 years and married for 2. I have built a life with you and you have been my best friend this whole time. If you respect me as a person and love me as a person, you will tell me the truth." That got him. He told me that he made out with one of his coworkers. I of course asked for all the details. If they've had intercourse, how long it's been going on, have they seen each other outside of work, do they text Cal, who she was, who started the relationship, if she knew he was married, if he talked about me, etc. Said they never had intercourse. Been going on for 2 weeks. Never text Cal because he didn't want to get caught, that she knew he was married, that it started out with just flirting, and that they've never seen each other outside of work. He of course cried, said he was sorry for letting me down, that he loved me, that he was a bad person, etc. I, being the dumb loving person that I am, consoled him and said he's not a bad person, just a person that made a bad decision. I told him that I still love him as a person, but that he took a vow and broke it. He broke my heart. That on one hand, I'd like to find a way to make it work, but that I'm always going to have that in the back of my head, regardless if I forgive him. That how can I move on, knowing that he may just step out on me when things get difficult. Life is going to throw us some shit storms, and now I have no clue if he will weather the storm with me. He said that he would do anything to make it work, go to couples counseling, share his location, let me look through his phone, etc. I told him while that's all well and good, that's not a way for a person to live. I would drive myself insane tracking his location, looking through his phone, never knowing if he is going to the gym or going to meet up with someone. He told me he would ultimately respect whatever decision I make. I told him I'm going to California, he is not, and I am taking my mom with me. We will take 2 weeks apart. Asked him to leave and go to a hotel and share his location with me. Once I get back from California and Thanksgiving with my family, I will let him know if I want to try couples counseling. Now I am left here singing Cotton Eyed Joe. Where did we come from? Where do we go? Have any of you been through something like this? What did you do? Leave immediately? Try to make things work and come out stronger? Try to make things work and ultimately dissolving the marriage? Decisions. Coping with humor will get me through this. So, long story short, he called to be completely honest so we could move forward, and admitted that they had intercourse 3 times, that it's been going on for 3 months. They had intercourse in a hotel room while I was out of town for a girls' weekend, paid cash as to not have a paper trail, and the makeup goblin has a child with her previous husband. That had cheated on her, which is why they had to fuck in a hotel because her kid was home. This bro is so delulu that he still has been begging for me to stay, that he will change, that he messed up and loves me. I asked him to leave me alone, and he sent me a slew of texts outlining a reel of our relationship and how amazing I am. Included lyrics from our first dance wedding song. What a manipulative clown. If you don't already know what I will do next, I will give you a hint. It starts with a D and ends with Ivorse. Finn. My dad told me I'd go through a roller coaster of emotions. I felt shocked, angry, hurt, but what I am feeling the most right now is loss. Loss of a potential future, of a family, of the last 8 years that were so formative in shaping me into who I am today. I just sent him this text. I want him to feel a sliver of the pain that I am feeling. This was my first time getting sleep since everything happened. I thought I'd wake up and this would have all been a bad dream, but it wasn't. I'm living a fucking nightmare that you architected. You have literal why made my life a living hell. The worst fucking pain I have ever felt in my life, X 1000. If I'm going to burn, so are you. I hope you feel like the monster you are. I want to go home, but I don't have a home. Not anymore. Not one that hasn't been tainted with lukewarm memories of our lives that could have been. You were my home. You were my safe space, and you took that from me. I don't know if I will ever feel safe again, if I will ever trust a living human being again, because I put all of my trust in the one person who I thought loved me and knew my soul to the core, my best friend. But turns out you were a fraud, and I'm the loser who fell for your sick and twisted games. To the creator, I think I'm going to be afraid of sleeping. Every time I wake up, my brain searches for you, and my heart has to tell it that we're broken. I relive it all over again, like instant replay. I experience a multitude of emotions all at once. Shock, anger, denial, hatred, confusion. The one that sticks is loss. Loss of the past, loss of the future, loss of who I am, loss of my safe place, loss of my best friend. I find I attempt to convince myself that maybe, just maybe, if I close my eyes, I will be blasted back to a time before this never happened, a time of bliss. But those dreams are mere fairy tales, and I am no princess. I am the bride of Frankenstein at this point. Stitched and glued back together, old wounds opened anew, a walking corpse, and you are the creator. I'm so sorry to hear that you're going through this. Cheating is a terrible betrayal, and it's understandable that you're feeling shocked, angry, and hurt. It's clear that you're in a lot of pain, and it's important to allow yourself to feel those emotions. Don't try to bottle them up or pretend that you're not hurt. Talking to a trusted friend or family member, or seeking professional counseling can be helpful in processing your emotions and coping with the situation. It's important to remember that not all marriages that experience infidelity end in divorce. Some couples are able to rebuild trust and move past the betrayal. However, this is a decision that you and your husband will need to make together, and it's important to take your time and not rush into anything. I know this is a serious matter, but I couldn't resist making a joke about the makeup situation. It's pretty ironic that he tried to blame the makeup on a dentist. I hope that you're able to find the strength to move forward from this betrayal. You deserve to be in a happy and healthy relationship. Our community is a treasure trove of insights, so let's take a moment to dive into the comments before we immerse ourselves in the next intriguing story. User WWSat89. If you hadn't noticed the makeup and gone down the rabbit hole, it would still be going on. He's not sorry, just sorry he got caught. User Winterfront1431. I would end the marriage. You don't have kids, so honestly, there's no reason to battle it out because that's what it would be, a battle. He was caught. He could have just said, okay, I'm sorry, this happened, but nope, he made you go digging. And then, of course, he tells you the minor thing. Yeah, we made out. I doubt it was just that adults don't have an affair for 2 weeks and just make out. He can cry all he wants, but he was happy to come home to you after doing God knows what with another woman, like it meant nothing. He is only sorry because his cake-face mistress put makeup on him. I would take this time away to tell you, Mom, and start looking for lawyers. Yes, you love him, but why would you want to police your partner who can't even go to work without cheating? User Cats and Parrots replies, yeah, I smell trickle truth. He only admitted to what you actual why caught him doing. There is more he has not admitted to. Did you actual why look at the card? He is grown ass man making secret meetings. He is getting more than make outs. My F31 husband, M32, doesn't want to spend time with his family. I've gotten closer to one of our friends, M31, and am now in love with him. Need help navigating this. Lost and in deep. I need help. I'm not sure this is the best place for this type of thing, but if there's a better place, please point me in the right direction. So, me, F31, and my husband, M32, have a 4-year-old daughter together. Same old story, great in the beginning, the usual small arguments, and a special why, since having our daughter has way more distant. Would rather spend his time playing video games than spend time with me or our daughter. Oh, and if he's not playing games, he's on YouTube on his phone and watching people play games. We have a tight friend group that I married into, so to speak, 14 of us. Everyone at least went to high school with each other, some went to elementary. I'm the only outsider. Around 8 months ago, a couple from this group bought a house very close to ours. Naturally, daughters have become closer friends and want to do a lot of things together. So she joined the same dance class as ours. The class is at 8 a.m. on Saturdays, so the dad takes her. Meet S, I'm 31. S and I have always gotten along. We met around 9 years ago when my husband and I got together. The first week at class, we sat together for the hour in the waiting room. It's separate from the hall, so we can actually watch. We usually just sit in awkward silence. S is quite a funny guy, so it flew by with his company. The next week, he's there and says he's going to get a coffee instead of sitting in that room. I'm welcome to join if I'm not busy. I agree, and we get in his car. We end up stuck in traffic, so by the time we get there, there's not much time left to sit in and have it. So we get it to go and sat for 20 minutes in his car. That's fine. The next week, he says he's doing the same thing. I'm welcome to join. We go again, and this time, I don't know why, but I got very paranoid about it. I asked if we could just get it in the drive-thru and stay in the car again. He says sure, and we end up passing his phone between us, picking terrible songs from our childhood for the hour. It was actually quite fun. And every week for the past 8 months has went like this. And I've not told my husband about any of it. I lost my dad a few months ago, and my husband just didn't care. No compassion, no comforting. Nothing. I couldn't believe the man I married was acting this way when I needed him most. I couldn't even cry around him without him huffing and puffing. S turned to my outlet during this time, and I've cried in his arms several times. Through this, he asked how things were at home, and I was honest with him and told him, I've never felt more alone than when I'm at home with my husband. He's been amazing putting up with me, and had suggested a marriage counsel, which I brought to my husband, but he was having none of it. S has told me he feels differently about my husband. He had no idea he was like that and has actually made a few comments towards him about it, but as usual, way above my husband's head. I've lost feelings for my husband, and probably did a long time ago, and have fallen for S hard. I feel wrecked with guilt, confused, hurt, sad, but all of that goes away when I see his face. I want to add here that in no way has S ever been inappropriate to me. He's never acted creepy, never said anything suggestible, never caught him staring, nothing at all that would suggest he has alternate motives. But I'm ashamed to admit, the only reason we haven't kissed or had made love is because he's never made a move. I'm scared because the way he makes me feel, I don't think I would say no or pull away. There's been a few times after seeing him when I get home that all I do is wish he did make a move, and that makes me a horrible fucking person. This all sounds crazy for someone I spend an hour with every morning at the weekend, but it's spill it over to other clubs our kids go to. I'll see him at nursery. I started matching our dog walking time some days so we will see each other. If there's an excuse to see him, I'll find it and use it. I know this is bad, and I need to do something about it. But when it comes to it, I never do anything, because I don't want to. Then hours after I'm battling my head telling myself I need to stop and I need to sort my marriage, whether that be working on it or separating. I want to tell S how I feel, but I don't want to look like a fool. I don't want to scare him. What if it blows up their marriage? What if our kids can't see each other? What happens to the friend group if this gets out? It's a fucking mess. I don't know what to do because we will still see each other a lot. My husband would never take our daughter to classes, so I'm stuck with that. I always do the nursery runs. How can I get over him if he's everywhere? Firstly, kudos to you for joining the dance class of complicated emotions. Your husband, the YouTube gamer, seems to be dancing to a different beat, leaving you to tap your feet elsewhere. And lo and behold, enter S, the knight in a coffee-stained car, providing solace and terrible song choices during these vulnerable moments. Now you've got yourself into a fine mess, my friend. Feelings have sprouted like mushrooms after a rainy day, and your husband is seemingly stuck in a video game vortex. But fear not, for every tangled dance has a way out. Your husband, oblivious to your emotional cha-cha with S, remains blissful, why unaware. It's almost comical, a Shakespearean comedy of errors with a dash of modern-day coffee shop rendezvous. But let's talk about the unwitting recipient of your emotional tango. He's been your rock, your emotional confidant, blissful why ignorant of your internal salsa for him. It's like a dance of desire without the dramatic confession. Is he just a salsa partner, or is there a potential waltz in the air? Here's the dilemma. The guilt-ridden tango between your marriage vows and the secret salsa with S. Your husband, stuck in his gaming bubble, seemingly impervious to your emotional plight, and S, the accidental crush who may or may not know he's the protagonist in your clandestine romance novel. Now the real question, do you confess risking a dance floor disaster, or do you put on your dancing shoes and waltz away from this intricate mess? There's a hint of humor in the irony of your situation, a dance class leading to an emotional dance of confusion. In the grand finale, my dear reader, it's time to face the music. Whether it's a symphony of reconciliation with your husband or a solo jazz number of self-discovery, the choice is yours. Update. My F31 husband, M32, doesn't want to spend time with his family. I've gotten closer to one of our friends, M31, and am now in love with him. Need help navigating this. Seeing as my last post got an overwhelming amount of attention, I thought I would post an update. I want to thank everyone who messaged me privately, Al, from very similar situations. Reading through your messages, it's crazy to me how many people seem to be married to the same person. It's given me the strength I needed to make this decision. Anyway, yesterday I kept the same routine. Off out our walk with the dogs at night, home and bed. Just before jumping into bed, S texted me asking if I used Reddit. My heart sank. I told him I did and asked why. He sent me a link to my post and said, "Did you post this?" I admitted it was me and waited for the ground to swallow me up. He replied with "wow," and a few minutes later texted me saying, "Don't panic." He won't tell my husband, but feels a certain way about hiding this from his partner, which I understand. Take the night to myself and think things over, and we will talk tomorrow, which is now today. He told me we were going to sort it out. Everything will be fine, but we need boundaries. I was a wreck last night, but after a few hours I calmed down. Didn't get much sleep. I read through all the messages I had gotten, and reading them and looking at my husband passed out on the other side of the bed, I was seething with anger. I have no idea why. That spilled over to this morning, and I'm not even gonna talk it through with him. We're done. I'm organizing things while he's out so I can leave quickly if I need to. I'm sorting a place to stay today and contacting lawyers. I can feel the relief coming, and nothing he says will stop me leaving. If he asks, I'll tell him there was someone who made me realize the life I have with him is not the life I want. I won't tell him who. He's been given countless chances to step up to the plate, and every time he fails me and our daughter for his own selfishness. He will never change. I haven't spoken to S yet today, and I don't really know how that side of things will pan out. I hope we can remain friends, but I totally understand if he wants to take a step back. I can't hold anything against him. And despite what people are telling me I want in my last post, I do not want to interfere in anyone's marriage. I may post another update, I may not. The last post was hard to keep on top of. I'm not sure exactly what day, but the conversation will be had before Friday. Thank you for the words of encouragement. I really needed it. Further update. The update above kept being filtered out and is now a week old. Seeing as I'm already posting this, I may as well tell you all what has happened the past week. I feel much better. It feels like such a relief. Husband has been trying to contact me nonstop. Despite being told the only communication between us will be about our daughter, I'm not interested in hearing his bullshit anymore. This has brought his true colors out and only solidified my choice. He has been struggling. And my second night out the house, I received a text from S to say my husband was currently at their house, in tears. Awkward. He's been leaning on them for support, and from what I hear, will do anything he can to get me back. Which is odd considering the multiple messages he's sent telling me that me and our daughter ruined his life and that he never wanted any of us. I have lots of great support from friends and family. Much to his chagrin, me and S have limited contact, though he still checks in to make sure I'm all right and if me and my daughter need anything. We spoke and we both agree. I'm experiencing limerence. I reiterated that I'm not out to sleep with him, and that I have been in a very fragile state of mind for God knows how long. It doesn't make it any easier when it comes to his wife. I feel horrible and fully accepted if neither of them want to remain friends. She hasn't been told yet, but will be when things have settled a bit. I already no longer feel like I'm in love with him. It's more like he showed me the light and made me realize that the way we were living wasn't normal or healthy, and that I deserve better. My husband has his own issues like we all do, but they don't fix themselves, and I can't waste my life away in the hopes that they do. I do hope he gets himself whatever help he needs. If not for him, for our daughter. She doesn't deserve to come second to video games and YouTube. Again, I want to thank everyone who chimed in with advice, and the ones who sent me their own similar stories. And I hope anyone reading these in a similar situation can take something away from my story. Don't settle and waste as many years as I did. Before we unravel the next chapter, let's take a pit stop at the community comments. Your thoughts and reactions are the heartbeat of our discussions. User Enough Fly 2765. This almost sound like Big Little Lies, the next season, sending lots of hopes and better days for you, OP. Your next move should be listing what you want to do for 2024 besides a divorce, like plant a tree or enjoying a day at the beach park. Good luck. User Artistic Asparagus 175. It's great that you figured out your own marriage, but S is in putting his own marriage second to your feelings by continuing to emotionally support you and not telling his wife about your feelings. She could see it as a huge betrayal by both of you. It's his responsibility to tell her now. The fact that he's texting you to tell your husband is there when he knows you have feeling for him seems super messy on his part. And TBH, going by your original post and comments, you didn't seem to feel horrible at all and wouldn't even acknowledge questions, comments about his wife. User Regular Educated Guy. Masterclass, babe. Keep your head high, you've done everything as best you could, and you've done an amazing job as a mother and as a human being. The comment section has been buzzing with energy. Now let's channel that excitement into our last story. Get ready for more surprises and twists. I, 32F, am hurt by my husband's 28M desire. My 32F husband, 28me, has had more sexual partners than I. We have been together for 2 years. From the beginning, I was very transparent and said I am monogamous. Sometimes throughout, he mentioned his desire to want to have a threesome with another woman. I asked him why. He answered because he would like to feel a new body and alternate between mine and hers simultaneously. I expressed that it hurt for me to picture him with another woman. He has been alluding to this again, at least twice more, and it always ends up with me being sad, depressed about his ineptitude to empathize when I say it. Truly hurts me to think of him with another woman. Few days back, he has brought up another more serious suggestion. He has expressed his desire to explore. Right before saying this, he warned me that he wanted to talk about something that he knew I was going to get mad about. And I asked him to elaborate, but I couldn't promise not to get upset without knowing first. He dropped on me that he wants to explore other women, have multiple one-night stands. I asked him if what he meant is to have an open relationship, and he confirmed. I was devastated. I don't think he understands even now how that affected me. I told him off for suggesting this to someone who had expressed hurt over a threesome and is clearly monogamous. I told him that I am very hurt and now this makes me insecure to no end, that once he reaches his 40s or so, he could have a midlife crisis and just decide to abandon me for refusing an open relationship, and that now I have the fear he might even cheat on me. I told him through tears that he just suggested something he did not give good thought and consideration over. How would he protect against STDs? That he did not consider how a relationship can still hold in case he finds the perfect sexual partner in someone else? Did he even think how he would feel seeing me and hearing me with other men, etc.? But he suggested this to someone whom he knows is clearly monogamous and wants to share her life with that one single person. He said his desire stems from wanting to feel like he accomplished something by bedding a lot of women. When I asked him if he thinks he could ever resent me for not allowing him to screw other women, he answered no. And when I asked about abandoning me, he said he couldn't promise this. I cried and told him that even me telling him this right then, about my fear of abandonment, he had not even comforted or reassured me this would not happen. He was quiet and then came to hug me and said quietly, "Love you. I want to be with you." Sometimes he makes jokes about screwing many bodies, and although they are jokes, they still annoy me. At this point, I don't know what to do, but my attraction to him has exponentially decreased. I don't feel special. I don't feel secure. I feel like I will not get the same devotion and dedication as I give and want back. Just knowing he desires to screw other women to this point is more than hurtful. It is heartbreaking. I am not sure what I am searching for here. Advice or empathy, maybe some words of reassurance that I am not in the wrong, or that this is what most men want. It sounds like you're in a really tough situation. It's understandable that you're feeling hurt and insecure by your husband's desire to have an open relationship. It's important to have a serious conversation with your husband about your concerns. Let him know that his desire to have an open relationship is making you feel insecure and unimportant. Remind him that you agreed to be in a monogamous relationship, and that his suggestion to open it up feels like a betrayal of your trust. It's important to remember that not all men are like this. There are plenty of men who are happy and content in monogamous relationships. Your husband's desire to have an open relationship is not a reflection of all men. I know this is a serious matter, but I couldn't resist making a joke about his screwing many bodies jokes. They're not funny and they're hurtful. He needs to know that his jokes are making you feel insecure. I hope that you and your husband are able to have a productive conversation about your concerns. If he is unwilling to compromise, then you may need to reconsider your relationship. You deserve to be in a relationship where you feel loved, respected, and secure. Here are some additional things to keep in mind. You are not wrong for wanting a monogamous relationship. Your husband's desire to have an open relationship is not a reflection of your worth. You deserve to be in a relationship with someone who respects your boundaries. I hope this helps. Before we end our adventure, let's tap into the wealth of opinions in the community comments. Your perspectives are like puzzle pieces that complete the story. User kaleidoscope, paradox, or that this is what most men want. I can only speak about myself, but as a man, no, I don't. I love my girl and just my girl. I'm attracted to her. Sure, I recognize when a woman is pretty, and that's it. Find some counseling on how to move on and separate if you want. You're not in the wrong here. You're not crazy. In this circumstance, it's normal to feel insecure. You are losing attraction because he broke your heart. If I were in your shoes, I will plan my out. Get some healing and maybe try again. Look for someone that real say I appreciate me and love me, that know that I'm enough and plenty more to him. A partner, lover, friend, and confidant. Not a man-child that thinks accomplishment means screwing around. What a pitiful existence. So shallow and entitled, user Beach Rabbit, 123 replies. OP, please listen to this. Most men are not like your husband. Most people are not cheaters and are not cruel and heartless and trifling. Non-monogamous relationships are something that need to make everyone involved happier, or they just should not happen. User Kaleidoscope Paksh Paradox replies back. Thanks. No, we are not. Most of us want connection, understanding, love, care, and respect. Also, we are willing to give as much back. We have feelings too. We hate to feel like shit, so we don't inflict pain on others for the same reason. Contrary to popular belief, a lot of us like commitment. It's just harder sometimes to show it. BS standards for masculinity that just plain suck. Most of us actually crave for that. As we wrap up this Reddit story, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more captivating Reddit stories. Your support means the world to me. I enjoy, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.